My name is Kulapat Yantrasast. I'm the creative director of wHY, and wHY is a multidisciplinary, studio company that include 4 groups of people. You have the architects in the buildings workshop, grounds workshop, which is landscape. You have objects, which is artists and craftsmen making objects and furniture, and then ideas that deal with research and studies and many other things that support each other. There are architect as artist, there's architect as business person, there's architect as community leader, there's architect as problem solver and technical person. I think we have to have all of the above. I think we could not mystify architect as artist because that's what normally happens. I do feel that architect is trained to really help to lead a group of people towards making a good decision. We are good at connecting all of the different agenda. We're good at providing options. We're good at leading people through design process and creative thinking. And I think it's another role that architect can play. Sometimes it ends up in buildings. Sometimes it might not even end up in buildings. Sometimes it ends up in policies and agreement and community building. At the end of the day, I think there's many channels that we can help to be more relevant in society and community through our creative process and also our ability to really communicate with people. Hans Olai said architecture is everything, right? And I think that that's really true. I think that's part of the reason why I really do not want people to think of architecture as buildings. Even though buildings is noble on its own, it's only one tool. Like you always hear, if you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail to you, right? So if architecture is the tool of thinking, what I would like is to have a full toolbox. You have hammer, you have nails, you have other things. So that you started to see the problem from different perspectives, that you don't try to approach it in one direction. So for me, architecture is people, the way that we create environment and experience for people. I'm not giving you a lip service in this, but I think that at the end of the day, it's about the interface of people to environment. And someone said communication starts not where you are, but where they are. So how do you communicate? How do you engage with people where they are? So because of that, I think the 2 things which are truly important for anyone interested in architecture, young or old, is number 1, to look, to travel, to look, and not only just for the best architecture, not say the Pritzker Prize-winning piece of architecture, but cities, things that have exist before, communities, and looking at and start asking yourself what speak to you. Do you find any beauty in these places that you belong to, and start to develop your own filter, your own palette of environmental tools that you feel important for you, that speak to your heart and your brain at the same time. So that's one thing. And so that's the sense of understanding yourself in terms of places and creative solutions. On the other side is really about people. At the end of the day, architecture always have a purpose. You can make architecture as sculpture that exists without a human interface. It could be a very solitude and a very strong. But at the end of the day, someone like me, I feel my work is completed when I see people really enjoying the spaces and the things that we do. So because of that, I need to understand who they are and what are they, within 2015, what are they thinking and what are they thinking from now in the next 10, 20, generation. So understanding people, I think, is really an important part of architecture, especially when architecture, thanks to you, has been consumed a lot now through the media, right? So it's very difficult to understand what it actually means to stand in a room or to look at a park or a garden because you already feel like you know about it through the media. So to have your own first-hand experience of places and make your own list of things that you'd like to do, I think is very important. And I do think that you need kind of technical aspect of architecture in schools and universities. But that part, I think, is almost less important than trying to find your own process of defining your vision.